Right now, in this exact moment, you're about to close this tab. You're thinking about scrolling past because you've heard it all before. But here's what I need you to understand. The fact that you're still here, even barely holding on, means something is still fighting inside you. Before we begin, I want you to know something important. I'm going to speak slowly and clearly, not just because this message matters, but because I want you to read every single word on the screen. Let the words sink in. Follow along at a pace that lets you truly absorb what you're reading. This isn't just about hearing a message. It's about mastering the language while transforming your mindset. So take your time. Read with me. Let each sentence build your English skills and your inner strength simultaneously. In the next few minutes, you're going to discover why that fight matters. Not motivational fluff, not empty promises, just raw truth about what happens when you're at rock bottom and the only direction left is up. There's a specific moment when everything feels impossible. Your goals seem laughable. Your dreams feel naive. Every step forward feels like you're walking through concrete. You look at other people succeeding and think they have something you don't. Maybe you wake up and immediately feel that heaviness in your chest. The thought of trying again exhausts you before you even begin. Your to-do list feels like a mountain you're too tired to climb. Simple tasks that others handle easily feel overwhelming to you. Here's what nobody tells you about that feeling. It's not weakness. It's awareness. You're finally seeing how hard things actually are. Most people quit before they reach this point. They give up when things get uncomfortable. But you pushed until you hit the real resistance. That makes you rare already. Think about learning English itself. At first, it seemed possible, maybe even easy. Then you discovered irregular verbs, confusing pronunciation, idioms that make no logical sense. That moment when you realized how complex it truly is, that wasn't the moment you should have quit. That was the moment you became a serious learner. Think about a muscle. It doesn't grow when you're comfortable. It grows when the fibers literally tear and rebuild stronger. Your breaking point isn't your ending point. It's your reconstruction phase. The pain you feel right now is not destruction. It's construction. Your old self, your old patterns, your old limitations are breaking down so something stronger can emerge. This discomfort has a purpose. I've already failed so many times. Exactly. And you're still breathing. Each failure didn't destroy you. It taught you one more way that doesn't work. Thomas Edison tested thousands of materials before finding the right filament for the light bulb. He wasn't lucky. He was persistent through his breaking points. Every scientist knows that negative results are still results. Every experiment that fails eliminates one possibility and brings you closer to the solution. Your failures are not evidence that you can't succeed. They're evidence that you're experimenting, testing, learning. Here's the psychological truth. Your brain is wired to remember negative experiences more vividly than positive ones. It's called negativity bias. 10 good things happen, 1 bad thing happens, and your brain focuses on the bad. This served our ancestors well when avoiding danger meant survival. But now, it makes you think you're failing when you're actually progressing. Your brain treats embarrassment from mispronouncing a word the same way it treats physical danger. It wants to protect you by making you avoid that situation again. But here's the problem. Growth requires entering uncomfortable situations repeatedly. Your protective brain mechanisms are now working against your progress. Understanding this doesn't make the feelings disappear, but it helps you recognize them for what they are. Ancient programming running in a modern world. You can acknowledge the fear while choosing to act anyway. When you want to give up on yourself, it's usually because there's a gap between who you are and who you think you should be. You have this image in your mind, the successful version of you, the confident version, the version that has it all together. And every day you wake up and you're not that person yet. It feels like evidence that you'll never be that person. This gap creates a constant internal conflict. You set standards based on an idealized version of yourself, then punish your current self for not meeting those standards. It's like expecting a seed to look like a tree on the first day you plant it. The seed isn't failing, it's in process. But here's the trap. You're comparing your behind the scenes with everyone else's highlight reel. You see someone's polished presentation but not the hours of nervous preparation. You see their confident post but not the delete button they hit 12 times before publishing. You see their success but not the rejection emails, the sleepless nights, the moments they sat in their car crying before walking into that meeting with a smile. That person you admire, they have moments where they want to quit too. That successful entrepreneur, they've failed more times than you've tried. That fit person at the gym, they started somewhere, probably feeling just as lost as you do now. The person speaking English fluently, they once struggled with basic sentences just like you. They mispronounced words. They felt embarrassed. They wanted to give up when people didn't understand them. But they kept speaking anyway. Their fluency isn't talent. It's accumulated courage to sound foolish repeatedly until sounding foolish became sounding fluent. Your identity isn't fixed. It's fluid. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you want to become. Went to the gym once? You're now someone who goes to the gym. Wrote one page? You're now someone who writes. The compound effect of these identity votes is staggering. Think of identity like a democracy, where your actions are votes. If you vote once for healthy eating, but 10 times for junk food wins the election. But here's the good news. Every single moment is a new voting opportunity. You don't need to win every vote. You just need to win more votes than you lose. Most people try to change their results without changing their identity. They want to lose weight but still identify as someone with bad genetics. They want to build a business but identify as someone who's not good with money. Your identity creates your actions, and your actions create your results. This creates an invisible ceiling. You can push against it with willpower and discipline, but eventually you'll snap back to match your identity. If you see yourself as not a morning person, you'll sabotage every attempt to wake up early because succeeding would contradict who you believe you are. The solution isn't more discipline. It's a new identity. But I've tried changing, and I keep going back to old patterns. That's because you're fighting your identity, not updating it. When you identify as a smoker trying to quit, every moment without a cigarette is painful resistance. When you identify as a non-smoker, turning down a cigarette is just who you are. Language is revealing here. Notice the difference between I'm trying to exercise versus I'm someone who exercises. The first is temporary effort. The second is permanent identity. Between I'm working on my English versus I'm an English learner. One sounds like a phase, the other sounds like a fact. Your brain will always act consistently with who you believe you are. Change the belief, and the actions follow naturally. This is why affirmations work when they're specific and believable. Not I am rich when you're broke, but I am someone who makes financially smart decisions. Not I am fluent when you're struggling, but I am someone who practices English every day. These statements you can believe, and belief shapes behavior. Social media has created a crisis of self-worth. You're watching curated highlight reels and comparing them to your entire movie, including the boring parts, the failures, the moments of doubt. Every scroll through your feed is a series of micro-comparisons. Their vacation versus your commute, their relationship versus your loneliness, their achievement versus your struggle. Your brain processes each comparison as evidence of your inadequacy, but you're comparing their carefully selected best moments against your unfiltered reality. It's like comparing a movie trailer to raw footage. Of course, the trailer looks better. Here's what you don't see in those posts: the anxiety attacks, the failed attempts, the years of grinding with no recognition, the moments they wanted to quit, the privilege or luck that helped, the editing and filters, and strategic angles. You don't see the debt behind the luxury, the loneliness behind the smile, the pressure behind the success, the medication behind the confidence, the failed business before the thriving one, the 20 photos they took to get that one perfect shot. Social media is a museum where everyone displays only their best work. You wouldn't walk through an art museum and feel bad that your refrigerator drawings don't look like the Mona Lisa. Comparison isn't just the thief of joy, it's the assassin of progress. When you're constantly looking sideways at what others are doing, you can't look forward at where you're going. Comparison paralyzes you because there will always be someone ahead of you in something. Always someone richer, smarter, more attractive, more successful, further along. If your measurement of success depends on being better than others, you've set yourself up for permanent dissatisfaction. Every minute you spend measuring yourself against someone else is a minute you're not spending improving yourself. And here's the cruel irony. The people you're comparing yourself to probably feel inadequate too, comparing themselves to someone else. It's a chain of unnecessary suffering. The person you envy is envying someone else who is envying someone else. Everyone is so busy looking at everyone else that nobody is actually enjoying their own life. It's like being at a concert but watching it through your phone to post online, missing the actual experience to capture a version that makes others think you're having an experience. There's a concept called the hedonic treadmill. No matter what you achieve, your baseline happiness returns to normal. That promotion you're chasing, it'll feel amazing for a few weeks, then normal. That weight loss goal, same thing. This isn't depressing, it's liberating. It means external achievements won't save you. Internal work will. Lottery winners return to their baseline happiness within a year. People who achieve major career milestones feel the excitement fade faster than they expected. The new car becomes just your car. The dream house becomes just your house. This happens because your brain adapts to new circumstances quickly. It's designed for survival, not sustained euphoria. Understanding this stops you from thinking, I'll be happy when. You won't, not permanently. So you might as well find happiness now, in the process, in the present moment. The antidote to comparison is radical self-focus. Not selfishness, but self-focus. Run your own race. Define your own metrics for success. What actually matters to you, not what Instagram says should matter. Maybe success for you isn't a corner office. Maybe it's flexible time with your family. Maybe it's not a six-figure income. Maybe it's work that feels meaningful. Maybe it's not being fluent in English. Maybe it's being confident enough to have a conversation without fear. Your definition of winning doesn't have to match anyone else's definition. Ask yourself, if nobody knew about my achievements, would I still want them? If you couldn't post about it, share it, or tell anyone, would you still pursue it? The answers reveal what you actually want versus what you think you should want. True goals survive the test of invisibility. Ego-driven goals don't. Create your own scoreboard. What does progress look like for you specifically? Not your parents' version of progress. Not your friend's version. Not society's version. Yours. When you measure yourself against your own standards, comparison becomes irrelevant. You're not competing with billions of people anymore. You're just trying to be better than you were yesterday. There's something powerful about having nothing left to lose. When you've hit absolute bottom, you have a strange kind of freedom. No more pretending. No more protecting an image. Just raw honesty about where you are. When you've already lost what you were afraid of losing, fear loses its grip on you. The worst already happened. You're still standing. That realization is liberating in a way that comfort never is. You can finally stop performing for others and start building for yourself. Rock Bottom has launched more success stories than comfortable mediocrity ever has. When you have nowhere to go but up, you stop being paralyzed by the fear of falling. People in comfortable positions often stay stuck because they're afraid to risk what they have. They settle for okay because they don't want to lose okay while reaching for great. But you have nothing protecting you from taking risks. Nothing holding you back from attempting the impossible. That's an advantage disguised as a disadvantage. J.K. Rowling was a divorced single mother on welfare before Harry Potter. Robert Downey Jr. was in prison before becoming Iron Man. Colonel Sanders was broke at 65 before KFC became a success. Oprah was fired from her first television job. Walt Disney's first animation company went bankrupt. Arnold Schwarzenegger was told his accent was too thick and his body too strange for Hollywood. Stephen King's first novel was rejected 30 times before publication. Vera Wang didn't enter the fashion industry until she was 40. These people didn't succeed despite their failures. Their failures gave them something success never could have: hunger, humility, and the knowledge that survival is possible even after devastation. These aren't just feel-good stories. They're evidence of a pattern. Pressure creates diamonds. Coal and diamonds are made of the same element, carbon. The only difference is pressure and time. The coal that stays comfortable remains coal forever. The carbon that endures extreme pressure transforms into something valuable, something that catches light and reflects it back stronger. But here's what they don't tell you in those comeback stories. It's not the rock bottom that made them successful. It's what they did at rock bottom. They could have stayed there. Many people do. What made the difference was the decision to treat bottom as a foundation, not a grave. At rock bottom, you have two options. You can make a home there, decorating your defeat with excuses and blame, or you can use it as solid ground to build upward from. The bottom is actually the most stable place to start building because there's nowhere lower to sink. Every action you take from here is progress. Some people hit bottom and immediately start digging. They drink more, isolate more, give up more. They make rock bottom into a basement with sub-levels. But others hit bottom and start gathering materials. They read that book, they make that call, they take that first small step. Same bottom, different response, completely different outcome. When you feel like giving up, you're actually at a choice point. This is the moment that will define your trajectory, not your past failures, not your current circumstances. This choice, right now, to keep going or quit. Years from now, you'll look back at this exact moment. You'll remember how hard it was, how much you wanted to quit, how impossible everything seemed. And you'll either think, I'm so glad I kept going, or I wish I hadn't given up. The future you is watching the present you make this decision. What do you want to be able to tell them? Every success story has a chapter where the hero almost quit. The only difference between the ones who made it and the ones who didn't is that the successful ones chose to turn one more page. You're overwhelmed because you're thinking too big. You want to change everything at once. Lose 50 pounds, start a business, fix all your relationships, become disciplined, learn new skills all simultaneously. That's not ambition. That's self-sabotage, disguised as ambition. Here's what actually works. Absurdly small wins. Not small wins. Absurdly small wins. Want to start exercising? Don't commit to an hour at the gym. Commit to putting on workout clothes. That's it. Just the clothes. Most days, once you're in the clothes, you'll do something. But even if you don't, you've kept a promise to yourself. That matters more than you realize. Want to write a book? Don't commit to 2,000 words a day. Commit to opening the document. One sentence counts as success. Want to eat healthier? Don't overhaul your entire diet. Add one vegetable to one meal. This feels too small to matter, right? That's exactly why it works. Your brain doesn't resist small changes. It resists massive overhauls. There's a Japanese concept called Kaizen, continuous improvement through small changes. After World War II, Japanese manufacturers rebuilt their industries using this principle. Instead of trying to compete immediately with massive American factories, they improved by 1% repeatedly. Those 1% improvements compounded into global dominance. Your life works the same way. The difference between who you are today and who you want to be isn't one massive leap. It's thousands of tiny steps. You're carrying weight that isn't visible. Past failures, old shame, unresolved pain, disappointment from people who let you down, guilt about letting others down. This emotional debt accumulates silently until it becomes too heavy to move. Most people try to outrun their emotional debt. They stay busy, distract themselves, numb out with substances or screens or food. But debt doesn't disappear when ignored. It grows interest. The only way through emotional debt is to acknowledge it, feel it, and release it. This doesn't mean dwelling in the past. It means processing what happened so it stops controlling your present. You can't heal what you refuse to feel. Here's a powerful practice. Write a letter you never send. Write to your younger self, to the person who hurt you, to the opportunity you missed, to the version of yourself you're disappointed in. Say everything, then burn it, delete it, or tear it up. The act of articulation releases the emotional charge. Forgiveness isn't about excusing what happened. It's about releasing the grip it has on your future. Holding on to resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. You're the one who suffers from carrying that weight, and sometimes the person you need to forgive most is yourself. You've probably heard that you need a support system to succeed. That's partially true and partially dangerous. Yes, having people who believe in you helps, but waiting until you have the perfect support system before you start is just another form of procrastination. Some of the most successful people started with zero support. Sometimes, the people closest to you are the least supportive because your growth threatens their comfort. Your ambition reminds them of their own unlived potential. This is painful to accept. Not everyone wants you to succeed. Some people need you to stay small so they can feel big. Crabs in a bucket pull each other down. Your job isn't to convince them. Your job is to climb out anyway. Build your own support system actively. Find people who are where you want to be. Join communities aligned with your goals. Invest in mentors or coaches if possible. Read books by people who've walked your path. Surround yourself with evidence that your goal is possible. But most importantly, become your own support system. Learn to encourage yourself. Validate your own progress. Pick yourself up when you fall. External motivation is nice, but it's unreliable. Self-motivation is renewable. Right now, reading this, you're at a pivot point. You have two paths ahead. Path 1. Close this tab. Go back to scrolling. Tell yourself things will magically improve someday. Continue the same patterns that brought you to this moment of wanting to give up. Path 2. Make one small change today. Not tomorrow. Today. Something so small, it feels almost meaningless. But it's not meaningless. It's the first step in a new direction. The gap between these paths looks small right now. One tiny choice. But compound that choice over days, weeks, months, years, and these paths lead to completely different destinations. 5 years from now, you'll arrive somewhere. The only question is where. Time passes regardless of what you do with it. You can't save time. You can only spend it. The question is what you're buying with those hours. Most people overestimate what they can accomplish in one day and underestimate what they can accomplish in 1 year. Your brain wants immediate results because it evolved for immediate survival, not long-term planning. But real transformation happens slowly, then suddenly. You don't notice a tree growing until suddenly it's tall enough for shade. You don't notice skills developing until suddenly you're competent. You don't notice habits changing until suddenly you're a different person. Every time you try to improve, you'll face resistance. Not from external forces, but from within. Your own mind will fight you. Steven Pressfield calls this the resistance in his book about creativity, but it applies to all growth. Resistance is that voice saying, "You're tired, you'll start Monday, you're not ready, one more episode won't hurt, you deserve a break." Resistance gets stronger the closer you get to your breakthrough. The day you feel most like quitting is often the day right before your transformation. You're pushing through the hardest part, and your brain is screaming at you to turn back. Professional artists, athletes, entrepreneurs all face the same resistance you do. The difference is they've learned to recognize it as a sign they're doing something important. Resistance doesn't show up for meaningless activities. It shows up when growth is on the other side. The solution isn't to eliminate resistance. It's to expect it, name it, and act anyway. Oh, there's that resistance again. Interesting. I'm going to do the thing anyway. Action creates momentum, and momentum crushes resistance. That's why starting is the hardest part. Once you're moving, continuing is easier. Everything depends on how you interpret what's happening to you. Two people can experience the same event, and one sees disaster while the other sees opportunity. You didn't fail. You gathered data about what doesn't work. You're not behind. You're on your own timeline. You're not stuck. You're being prepared for what's next. You're not broken. You're breaking through. These aren't just positive affirmations. They're cognitively accurate reframes. The meaning you assign to events literally changes their impact on your life. There's a study where researchers told one group of hotel cleaners that their work counted as exercise, meeting Surgeon General recommendations. They told another group, nothing. A month later, the informed group had lost weight, lowered blood pressure, and improved body fat percentage. The work didn't change. The interpretation did. Your narrative about yourself is either empowering you or imprisoning you. You get to choose which story you tell. I'm someone who gives up easily versus I'm someone who's learning persistence. I always fail versus I'm gathering experience. Nothing works for me versus I haven't found what works yet. The word yet is powerful. It acknowledges current reality while keeping the door open for future change. Your body responds to what your mind believes. When you think, I can't do this, your body produces cortisol, stress hormones that literally make everything harder. Your muscles tighten, your thinking narrows, your energy drops. When you think, this is hard but possible, your body produces different chemicals. Dopamine for motivation, endorphins for perseverance. Your physiology shifts to support your belief. This isn't pseudoscience. It's psychoneuroimmunology, the study of how thoughts affect your nervous system and immune function. Athletes use visualization because imagining successful performance activates the same neural pathways as actual performance. Your brain doesn't completely distinguish between vivid imagination and reality. This means you can practice success mentally before experiencing it physically. Visualize yourself handling challenges calmly. Imagine yourself following through on commitments. Picture yourself as the person you're becoming. Your brain will start building the neural infrastructure to support that identity. Neurons that fire together wire together. Every time you think about your goals, imagine success, or visualize your better self, you're literally rewiring your brain. You're reading this because somewhere inside, you know you're capable of more. That knowledge creates discomfort. The gap between your potential and your current reality is painful. But here's the brutal truth. Nobody is coming to save you. No perfect opportunity. No ideal circumstances. No magical motivation. It's on you. That's not meant to discourage you. It's meant to free you. Once you accept complete responsibility for your life, you reclaim complete power over your life. Blaming circumstances, other people, bad luck, timing, or genetics keeps you stuck. Even if those things are true, focusing on them doesn't help you move forward. Focusing on what you can control does. You can't control what happened to you in the past. You can control what you do about it now. You can't control other people's actions. You can control your responses. You can't control outcomes. You can control effort and consistency. Radical responsibility isn't about shame or blame. It's about recognizing that you're the author of your life story. You might not have chosen the first chapters, but you're writing the next ones. You're waiting for permission. Permission to start, permission to try, permission to want more, permission to believe you deserve better. Here it is. You have permission. Permission to be ambitious without being arrogant. Permission to prioritize yourself without being selfish. Permission to start over as many times as needed. Permission to go at your own pace. Permission to redefine success on your terms. Permission to let go of who you were supposed to be and become who you're meant to be. You don't need credentials to begin. You don't need to be perfect to be worthy. You don't need to have it all figured out to take the first step. Most successful people started before they felt ready. They learned while doing, not before doing. Readiness is a myth that keeps people stuck in preparation forever. You're still here, That means something survived everything that tried to break you. That something is stronger than you realize. Giving up is always an option, but it's not the only option, and it's not the best option. What if you gave yourself 6 more months of genuine effort? What if you tried one more approach? What if the breakthrough is closer than you think? You'll never know if you quit now. The version of yourself that's waiting on the other side of this struggle needs you to keep going. Future you needs present you to hold on just a little longer. Your story isn't over. This is just the chapter where the hero feels lost. Every great story has this chapter. It's not the ending. It's the turning point. So don't scroll past this moment. Don't dismiss what you're feeling. Honor it, acknowledge it, and then make a different choice. Choose to try one more day, then choose again tomorrow. String enough of those days together, and suddenly you'll look back and realize you didn't just survive, you transformed. The fact that you're considering giving up means you're in the arena, not in the stands. You're actually doing the work. Most people never even try. You're closer than you think. Don't give up on yourself now. Not today.